Hey family, good morning. Good morning, good morning. It is at least morning where I am. It may be evening, depending on where you are in the world, or afternoon. But good morning, good morning, good morning. I just actually came out of a meditation and I wanted to share with you something that my guides downloaded to me during my meditation around all of these things that are happening with race and race relations, particularly in America. And, we've been talking about, for this month of June, I've titled it Justice June. And we've been talking a lot about how do we, in our respective perspectives, how do we really view this and from the soul's perspective, and what do we really take from this, and understand what is ours to heal. And I got a bigger aha today from my guides around this. I've been sharing a lot. If you've been following this series for a while, you know that I've been talking about how we each have different healing paths around this because we each have different challenges around this. And I've been talking about it from the right and left sides of the brain, as well as the ego and the soul side of the consciousness. And my guides gave me a different another way to say this, and a deeper way to understand it, and it was another big aha for me. So before I share with you what they said, again, if you have a question, put your question in the comments with hashtag Ask Jerome, and I will respond to your question either in this video or in an upcoming video. And also keep all your comments very respectful. Just know that, this is a very touchy topic for many people. And so keep your comments respectful and loving. If they are not that, not only will the comment be deleted, but you may be blocked from my page, just because I protect my energy space and I know what I'm trying to do here. I am trying to get us to a higher level of well-being, all of us. So just keep that in mind. So let's dive in. So before, earlier this week, for the past few days especially, I have been hearing this statement go over and over in my consciousness, and it was just been playing over and over and over in different situations. And hey, Tyrone, and it was kind of odd for me because I hadn't, where the root of this particular statement, I hadn't had any interaction with recently, and I hadn't been studying in a while. And the root of this was the Course in Miracles. If any of you are familiar with the Course in Miracles, it came from A Course in Miracles. And I was a student of A Course in Miracles many, many years ago, and I'm a big proponent of it. But in the last few years, I haven't been studying it. I haven't really been working with it. I've been working with my own guides and getting my own guidance from my own higher self. And so the statement from this, though, one of the quotes that comes out of the Course in Miracles was, "Everything is a lesson that God would have me learn." And I was hearing this over and over and over and over and over again. And in the last few days, I got this awareness. I was having this conversation with my guides, and I was talking about how, I was like, where's this conversation? Where's this coming from me? Why is this coming up a lot in my consciousness? Good morning, Debbie. And one thing that they were telling me is that my journey has led me to understand that what God is love. And I've talked about this a lot in my videos, that God is love. Hey, Ty, good morning. That God is love. That God is literally the consciousness and truth of love, of which we are made of and of which we are. That is what we are as souls. That is the eternal and universal truth of ourselves, is that we are love. And that's what I've been teaching for years, that we are, good morning, Andrea, that we are the energy of love, that we are manifestations of love, and that we are here to be the love that we are. And what they were talking about around this quote is that when it's to take the piece of God out and to put in love instead, and then this will be the big awareness that everything is a lesson that love would have me learn. Everything that shows up in my life, every experience that I have, every challenge that I have, every beautiful thing that I have happened to me, every painful thing that I have happened to me, every pleasurable thing that I have happened to me is a lesson that love would have me learn. It is trying to teach me something about love. And when I got in my meditation today, as I was meditating, was that racism, and you've heard me say this a little bit, but I got it in a deeper way. I'm going to share what that deeper way is. That racism is a lesson in that love would have me learn. Everything is about love. It is trying to get me into a higher understanding and a higher expression of love. And what my guides told me today around it, what they were talking to me today around it was that racism is a so before I go into racism, that every soul comes here, that every soul chooses to manifest in this particular world, in this particular lifetime, for two things. The two things are to be love, to be the expression and the experience of love in human form. And the second thing, the second purpose for this lifetime is to be loved. To be loved in human form, to experience love in all the spaces in which you move in throughout your lifetime, to experience love. And this is the purpose, right? So this is and the soul. And if you need to watch my last video, because I talked about in my last video that you choose different pathways to experience challenges around that. So the soul will choose not just everything that the soul chooses male, to be female, to experience male first and then transition into female, to experience female first and then transition to male, to be black, to be white, the sexuality of your being, all of that you choose because those different aspects, you choose also your nationality, you choose your culture, you choose all of that as a soul to manifest inside of, because all of those elements mixed together are going to offer you challenges around how to be love and how to be loved. They offer challenges. So you come to experience challenges around that. And through those challenges, you grow and you strengthen in your ability to be loved and be loved. And that strengthening expands you, and that expands the entire universe. And so we are literally here to understand in greater levels how to be love and how to be loved. And again, you come to experience different challenges around that. And you'll experience primarily, your challenges will be primarily focused. What my guys were telling me today was like, your challenges will be primarily focused more in one than the other. So you will come in, like the soul will come in and say, okay, maybe last life that I had, I really kind of learned a lot about being love. So I learned how to be love, and love other people, and love and be the presence of love for the world. And I learned a lot about that, but I didn't really learn about how to be loved well. So in this lifetime, I'm going to come in and I'm going to learn more about that. I'm going to experience more about how to really receive love and be loved more. Or maybe last lifetime, I kind of went deep into how to be loved. I really learned how to receive love, to trust that I am lovable, to really feel into my worthiness. And now this lifetime, I'm going to experience more about how to express love to others, to really understand that other people are lovable as well, and express that love to them. And that's going to be my challenge more this time, right? And so they were showing me that this is kind of what the soul comes in to understand. And this is what the soul comes in to really experience. And if you want to look at it, again, I don't like to look at life as kind of a classroom, because you're not being judged. There's no grades, but it's more like a gym. It's more like where you learn to strengthen certain aspects of yourself, and where you have, and gym and a playground where you have fun, and where you're here to have fun, and where you're also learning to strengthen different aspects of your being. And again, so there's no judge. As a soul, there is no judge whatsoever. There's no judging of your character. There's no judging of your being. And there's no and this is something that happens a lot in spiritual circles, that is really I'm I'm going to say a misguided and a false teaching is that we're here to, expand so we never have to come here again. And this is kind of like the school where the lower level school where you come and you're really learning how to ascend and so you don't ever have to come back here again. Or, you're being judged at how well you expand or whatever. This is not really what happens. And so you're here to learn that. So that's the first thing my guides were telling me. And so what does this all have to do with black and white people and racism? So what they told me is that there are different experiences in your lifetime that are going to offer you the lesson more in one area or the other. So there are different parts of your life where you're going to where you're learning to be loved more. And there are different experiences where you're going to learn to be loved more. Right. And different perspectives and different experiences of your life are going to offer you different things. And you've heard me talk in this series about how black people have come to manifest to be more operative off of the right side of the brain and in the soul consciousness, and white people have come to operate more off the left side of the brain and in the ego side of the consciousness, and to learn how to integrate the two. This is the same thing. You're learning how to integrate the two, how to be loved and be loved. And this is one more thing before I go into this, because what you're learning how to do here in this earth plane is you are learning how to be the unconditional love that you are in fullness. You are into fully actualize it into human form in this lifetime. That's what you're coming to learn how to do. And you're coming to learn how to be unconditional love, the full energy and vibration of it and the full truth of it in human form. And you will have different challenges around how to do that. So for black folks, your particular why you chose this lifetime to be black is you are learning at a deeper level how to be loved. This is the challenge, and this is the invitation. We are learning in black skin how to be loved, how to receive love from every area of our being and in every space of our lives. And this looks like, right? This is the big challenge, and this is what racism is here to. This is the challenge of racism for us. It is here to really help us understand how to be loved. And one of the things, and what they were sharing with me today, and with my guys were talking to me about this, was for black folks, one of the ways in which we're learning how to be loved is how to really communicate our needs, how to really understand what they are, to understand that it is okay that we have them and that they deserve to be met, and to not speak up about them and to get those needs met. Not just to speak up about them and for them to go without getting met, but for us to get our needs met. That is one aspect of being loved, is getting your needs met, right? Being loved, and loved is not just being loved by others, but also being loved by ourselves. Being loved by yourself so that you can fully be loved by others. And I'm going to talk about this in another video, why self-love is the key to all of this, right? But you have to, but we'll do another video because that's a whole nother hour of conversation. But we have to learn that one aspect of being loved is getting our needs met and communicating our needs. The other aspect of love that we're learning through this process of racism is how to remove energy within us that is resisting love. How to remove any frequency or vibration that we're holding within us as black peoples that is resisting receiving love. And the things that are resisting receiving love and energy wise, when you think about energy and vibration, the things that resist receiving love are not feeling worthy, not feeling enough. Because if you don't feel enough, you can't manifest experiences that make you feel enough, that mirror back to you that you are enough. So that if you don't feel worthy, and being enough means I don't feel inadequate in any way. I don't feel less than in any way. I don't feel there is something wrong with me in any aspect of my being at all. That is an energy. So when we have those thoughts and those beliefs, that creates the energy in us that keeps us from receiving love. And so we have to, and Black people have been highly socialized and highly traumatized into holding those beliefs. We have been highly traumatized and highly socialized as a people into believing we are not enough, into believing there is something wrong with us. And again, I will be going into this in separate videos in this month, so you can look out for this. So I am not enough, and that there is something less than about me, and that there is something wrong with me as I am. We have been getting that in the media. We have been getting that in our schooling. We have been getting that in our institutions. And we have been traumatized into that, into the experience with racism and also the past trauma that our ancestors experienced. And this is the energy we have to heal in our vibrations, because we have to recenter our vibrations into I am enough. There is nothing wrong with me. That I am enough and I am worthy. And that attracts love to you. It doesn't repel it. It attracts it. When you feel that, and this is what I teach people who work with me and my private clients, I teach them deeply into how to recenter themselves into a feeling of worthiness. And literally when you do that, your entire world shifts. Your entire life changes. You attract soulmates. Your work experiences change. Your experience with racism changes just off of that energy alone. So this is what we are trying, that begins to center you in feeling lovable. And when you feel lovable, you have to only attract to you situations that love you. You have to attract situations to you and manifest experiences, relationships, and situations that affirm, confirm, and mirror back that you are lovable. And so this is the big learning for Black peoples of our time, is to clean out our vibration from all the spaces where we don't feel enough and we don't feel worthy, where we were made to feel that way, whether we were made to feel that way by society, whether we were made to feel that way through our culture or our own families. We have to clean that out and begin to recenter that. That's where we're learning. That's our learning. That's where we manifested in these lifetimes to learn how to be loved. Right? That's our big learning around this. That's one of them. So again, communicating our needs, removing the energy that is resisting love. The other part of the energy that's resisting love is fear. Fear. For many of us, again, we have been traumatized and socialized to not feel safe. To not feel safe in this world as a Black person. To not feel safe in this country as a Black person. And here's another thing, again, your internal state determines your external reality. We have been taught that this reality is the real world, and it's not. It's not. Hey, PJ, good afternoon. It is not the reality. The real reality is your internal state, because that's the blueprint for how everything else gets manifested. Remember, I've been teaching this in every video. Your external reality is a mirror. It is mirroring back to you your internal state. Your internal state is what you believe and how you feel. And that is what and your reality has to be a mirror in every situation. It has to be a mirror of what your internal state is. So if you do not believe you are safe in this world, you cannot manifest a life that feels safe. If you do not believe and you do not feel that you are safe being Black, you cannot manifest a life experience where you are going to move through the world and be safe being Black. The universe's main responsibility is to make all of your beliefs come true. I'm going to say this again. The universe's main responsibility is to make all of your beliefs come true. So and here's the thing. So what this means is, if you are worried about something, or if you are afraid of something, you have to manifest something to be worried about and to be afraid about. This is not what we're taught in our schools. This is not what we're taught in our churches. But this is how things work. And this is the real time for those of us who understand this to step out and teach. Because Black peoples are not being taught this. We are not. And this is why we're not manifesting lives of safety. And this is what the real work is. This is where our work is. It's to heal the energies we have within us, where we don't feel safe, where we are not feeling, where we don't trust in life, where we don't trust in our own worthiness, and where we're not speaking up for our needs. And this is how we're going to amplify our experience of being loved in this lifetime. This is what it's about. Right. And then there's a last part of this. So again, this is the first one is communicating our needs and getting our needs met. The other one is removing the energy within us that is withholding love from us. It's withholding love from us. Removing the beliefs and the energy from within us, and instilling beliefs and energy that will attract love to us instead of keeping it from us. And then the third thing is to set boundaries. To really, really set boundaries, right? Boundaries is how you protect your feeling of love. And it's also how you teach people how to love you. You teach the universe how to treat you, by the way. Not just Black people, right? This is for any of you all watching. You teach the universe how to treat you. And one of the ways in which you teach people how to love you, and you teach people how to really and set relationships and set the stage for love to flow in your relationships, is you have to have very clear, communicated, and honored boundaries. And when it comes to Black and white relations, Black people have not set and honored our boundaries yet. And this is something we need to learn how to do. We need to learn how to say what's acceptable for me, what's not acceptable for me, what is harmful for me. And also, here is the consequence if you continue to offer this harmful behavior. Here is the consequence if you continue to dishonor my boundaries and violate me. Because when you're not clear about what your boundaries are, number one, you have to get clear about what they are. So what I mean by that is, like, you have to get clear about what's not okay with you, what makes you feel disempowered and violated in relationships, in personal relationships, in bigger collective communal relationships. How do you need to be treated in order to feel well-being? And that's what you need to get clear on first. And then you need to communicate that. This is what I need. It's going to be different. Right? This is what it's going to be different individually, and it's going to be different collectively. It's going to be different for Black peoples than it is going to be for white peoples. It's going to be different for you personally in your individual relationships than it is going to be for me and mine and my individual relationships. But we have to get clear on what that is as a collective. And then we have to communicate it. And then you have to communicate the consequence if it's violated. Right? And so one of the consequences may be, sometimes in relationships you can have consequences like, one of the consequences may be engagement. You don't get to engage with me. If you continue to offer this harmful behavior, I'm not going to engage with you in any form. We're going to end this relationship altogether. Right? But you have to have consequences for the boundaries, because if you don't have consequences, then the other person is usually going to continue offering the harmful behavior. And that is a huge part of receiving love, is to offer consequence. And another thing my guides told me around this in my meditation today was, and I was just alluding to it, which is the perfect segue into this, because I was just talking about how you may have to end engagement. One of the things that my guide downloaded in my meditation today was, like, a part of having boundaries is you have to learn how to, this is the self-loving part. You have to learn how to get up from tables where love is not being served. Right? Who was that? Nina Simone said that years ago. Years ago, she said, I learned how to get up from tables where love is no longer being served. And that is a part of your boundary. If love is not being served in an area, you have to learn how to get up from the table. And as a Black collective, we need to have conversations about what getting up from the table looks like. What does it look like? There's going to be some spaces where we need to get up from the table all together. So, and I will be speaking about this in a video in this series. And this month, I'll be going very deeply into boundaries and into what they actually are and how to actually do them, and some suggestions I have around what we need to do for boundaries around racism. But this is one of the things that for Black folks, where we are being asked, this is the big lesson in this lifetime. One of the big lessons we're learning and the big challenges where we're learning to maneuver. These are the three areas mostly around are we getting our needs met, removing the energy that's withholding love from us, and setting boundaries and getting up from the table where love is no longer being served. And this is how we're going to amplify our experience of being loved in this lifetime as a soul having a Black experience. Now, for my white family, for those of you who are watching for my white family, again, remember your soul came to experience how to be loved and how to be loved. And when it comes to Black and white relations, the souls that manifested in Black bodies are here to learn how to be loved more in this experience. And souls that manifested in white bodies are here to learn how to be love more. You are here to learn how to express love more, how to be the presence of love. That is why your soul chose to manifest in a white skin and have the white experience. That is why it chose to do that. It is here, the challenge that it wanted to experience in this lifetime. This is what my guys were showing me today in meditation, was you are here to learn how to be love more, to express it more. And what that looks like for you is to learn how to enhance empathy in you, to learn how to really feel more connected to other people. Empathy meaning I feel what you feel and I understand what you feel. And it's more like I see you, I hear you, and I really value what I see and what I hear from you. Right? That is something that you're here to learn more about and here to practice more and express more. And this is something that our society doesn't really teach. Our society doesn't teach any of us, right? Our society was created more off of the ego side of the egocentric side of the brain. And so it's more about focusing on me instead of we. Right? So empathy is about we more instead of me. It's not that me gets suppressed. And it's not that you need to deny me, because that's not what this is about. Remember, me is here to be loved as well. But so you need to understand how to be loved. But your big challenge is how to look more from the perspective of we. And the we, not just of my individual family, but all of humanity. All of humanity, to feel a part of all of this. And that's the second part of it. So the first part is the empathy. The second part of the invitation and the challenge is the connection and the belonging to all of us. To feel a sense of belonging and connection, not just to my immediate family, but to my Black brothers and sisters, to my indigenous and native brothers and sisters, to all humans that exist on this planet, to understand we are all one. We are part of each other. What happens to you happens to me. And what happens to me happens to you. To understand that now, to have a deeper understanding, because your soul knows that. Your soul knows we're having an illusion of being two separate things, but that we are one and the same. And that there can't be something happening to one aspect of humanity over here, and it doesn't affect this other aspect of humanity over here, because we are all connected. And when I've spoken about this before, but I learned this in my own near-death experience, when I had a near-death experience and crossed over to the other side. But I really learned this afterwards when my mediumship gift opened and I began to talk to souls on the other side. And they would tell me about something that happens when every soul dies. When every soul dies, one of the first things that happens when you cross over to the other side and you become the fullness of your soul is you have what's called a life review. And in that life review, you get to see all the choices you made, what the consequences and the effects were of all those choices. and how all of those choices that you made or you didn't make, by the way, not making a choice is also a choice. So all the choices that you made or you didn't make, how they affected the outcome and the growth or the diminishment of your own lifetime, but also how it affected the lifetime and the experience and the growth or the diminishment of every life on the planet. You get to see, and the souls would show me, they would show me some of the life reviews, and they would show me how it's kind of, we're all woven like a tapestry. And although we're individual threads, all those threads are woven together. So you can't pull a thread out and it not affect the entire tapestry. We're all part of this big tapestry, and that's the oneness. And your choices and what you choose to do or not do affects how all these other pieces of this tapestry, how they expand or how they get diminished. And the souls were telling me, and they were showing me in this life review, they would see how when you have your life review, you get to see how where you didn't express love, where you didn't allow yourself to experience love, how that negatively affected the overall experience of your life, and how that either positively or negatively affected the overall experience of everybody in the world. You get to see all of it. And so this is the thing that you are learning more as a white person. You are learning more to feel connected and to feel a sense of belonging to everyone. And this is what will actually help in racism, is when you finally understand and you feel a deeper, not just understand up here. It's not just about mentally, it's literally coming in, understanding in the heart and feeling it in the body, that you are connected to everyone. This is what I was saying in my other videos about why Black people have such a visceral response when someone who is Black gets harmed or receives brutality by the police. Because for us, we are more connected in that sense. We have a higher sense of connection and belonging. And so, for instance, when I see a person who has been killed by the police wrongfully, I don't just feel like, oh my God, that poor man or that poor woman. It is a feeling like that happened to me. It feels like that is happening to me, like that happened to my brother, to my sister, to my mother, to my father. It happened to me. I feel it in my body. And most Black people, if you will talk to them, they may not be as aware of energy and connection like I am, but if you really talk to them about it, what you will hear is the same thing happening with them. Because we have a higher sense, our souls came to be more in the experience of the oneness. So we feel it. We feel oneness more. We feel connection to that Black person. We also feel connection to you as a white person. We feel it. And so this is the thing that white people now are here to amplify and enhance in their own being, is the feeling of connection and belonging. That you belong to all of humanity, not just set parts and sections of it. And then the last part of this that my guys were telling me was the other aspect of this is to help you. And so when you do this, when you increase your empathy and you increase your sense of connection and belonging, you'll be able to express love more. You'll be able to be the presence of love in the world more. Again, you're here to learn more and in regards to your whiteness, to learn how to be the presence of love more. So to be love. And so the empathy and the connection and belonging will help you be love more. And then this last aspect is to recognize your blind spots and your harmful behavior and stop them. Right? This isn't any relationship. If you really want to be more loving in a relationship, you've got to understand where your blind spots are, where you're not recognizing the other person, where you're not meeting their needs, where you're not honoring them and valuing them, and also where you're offering harmful behavior. right? That's in any relationship. That's in interpersonal relationships. That's in work relationships. We all have to learn that, right? This is what the invitation is for my white family in regards to black and white relationships, is looking at where your blind spots are. You have them. I can guarantee you have them when it comes to black and white relations. You have blind spots. And you also have some harmful behavior, and some harmful behavior that you may not even know that you're offering, and that you may not be intentionally offering, but you're still offering. Like, you may not be a supremacist and a willful supremacist where you are wanting to harm black bodies intentionally, but there are ways in which you move through the world, and there are ways in which you engage with black people that are harmful. And you have to look at that and own that, and then begin to learn how to stop offering that. And so, and there's going to be some more conversations between us that are going to are going to have to assist in helping you understand that. Angela Todd, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, you want to do that, because if this is your first video watching this in my series, you're not going to understand this. And I've been talking about this now for almost about 3 weeks in depth. This is another aspect. So if you're just now joining, you need to do that before you comment on it makes no logical sense around how black and white peoples are feeling different things. So go watch those videos. And also, if you don't understand it from that perspective, then my videos may not be for you, love. I am teaching this from this perspective, and I am teaching this perspective from a soul consciousness perspective. And if you don't understand the soul and how the soul views things, or soul consciousness, you won't understand that. Okay, so the last part of that is the last part of this is again, to understand where you recognize your blind spots and your harmful behavior, and stop them as it pertains to your relationships with black people and how you show up with black people. So yeah, so that's what they were talking about, the understanding of be love and be loved, to be love and be loved. Okay, so I don't see any questions here outside of the ones I've already responded to. But that's the big understanding, that we are here as souls to understand there's different challenges that we're here to experience, and they manifest differently when you are in different cultures and different skin color. So I hope this has kind of shined some light on this for you, and I'll see you in the next video. As always, I love you. Now go love yourself. Bye.